Hello, everybody. It's been a while, but I'm happy to come back and have a lovely conversation with my friend Josh. We sat down, just kind of went over how he got to where he got to, which is Washington, and it took him a little bit to move around and kind of find where he's supposed to be. And he was chasing the music scene, first from him and his sister were in Ohio, and they kind of went to Pittsburgh from that point. And you'll hear him talking about it a little bit here and there. And after that, music scene died out. He's like, I need to go somewhere else. And he came to Washington, where the music is much more present. What's a good word? Spoiler alert. He came here because he really likes Nirvana. And now he's here, and he gets to play music with a bunch of great people and share his vision with the world. So it's very nice to be able to sit down and have a nice conversation with him. I mean, we go everywhere. Talked about going nuts and stuff. We talked about conscience a little bit from my end. Just kind of, he talked about how he was homeless for a little bit. Why, how, which kind of sucked. Talked about our injuries that prevented us or made it difficult for us to play music, which is good so that something bad or something difficult inspires us to, overcome and become better. Just share some things about that. Other than that, this is a little bit longer of an episode because it's also a musical episode. We got some music going around in the middle, so I hope you guys enjoy that part. We'll play one song in two versions. I know, crazy. And another song where he breaks it down and he talks about the writing process of that song. And I just sit back and play along and just do a little bit of doodling, noodling, and boodling. I know, I'm crazy. Well, without further ado, let's jump into it.
Broadcasting courses over at, Green River? KGRG?
That'd be very helpful, actually. It's kind of nice. And again, you do have the voice for it.
Well, I thank you.
Indeed. Put everything away. Okay, definitely. I'm going to take a picture of this right now because I know I'm going to forget it. Guitar, grimoire. I will forget it. Doot and doot. Okay.
Yeah, and there's probably like around a dozen of those. And they're like various things. So like you have your beginning guitar, and then you have the chords and voicings and bass, and like there's so many of them.
Because right now, if I'm gonna sit down to just like gonna riff or just play around, I have my notebook, right, and I just wrote in just the scales. A minor has these keys in it, or these chords in there, or whatever notes, and it's like, oh, let's see, and just throw things together. I was like, that sounds good. Just keep doing that, and just like sing it or something over it. But it's very helpful to have some sort of guidance because we don't know everything. Luckily, or maybe not so luckily. Cool. So if you can give me, now that I'm comfy, if you can give me just like a. Just like a synopsis of who you are, just so...
Synopsis of who I am?
Yeah.
Okay. So my name is Josh Alday. I'm with a band called Buffalo, and I am also the inventor of a new type of drum design with my drum company, 101 Percussion.
Is there a significance between 101 Percussion, just like the number 101, since you even had me show up here at 1 o'clock 101?
There's a lot of significance behind 101. So my very first address, like where I grew up, the address was 101, and that was my first locker, was 101, and it's just a number that's like followed me my entire life, so it only made sense to make the drum company 101 Percussion.
Something to just feel like home, truly. Do you believe in there, like, any sort of, significant signs from the universe? Do you take that as one, just like maybe 101, be following you around through the world, as a divine, I don't know, like one of, what was the thing, like the carrot at the end of the mule kind of thing, so you're like chasing it. It's like, oh, 101, here. I don't know if that's even a good analogy.
Well, not the number itself, but I mean, there were certainly things in my life that led me to do this. So that design that I was talking about, we call it the Revolution design, and that's a little R, big E. And I came up with that in, let's see, I was about 16, 17, somewhere in there. Are you familiar with the band Guster? Guster.
I don't believe so.
Okay, so their drummer, it used to be, he only played hand percussion. He had this hand percussion set up, and he had a hand snare. And I really wanted one, but they were like so goddamn expensive. And plus, I wanted one that you could turn off the snare mechanism and then play it like a regular conga, so have those tones, and that's where the design came from. But later on, I went to Art Institute of Pittsburgh, and I studied product design. Before that, I went to Kent State for business management, but it was all about making this thing a reality. So the biggest thing that I took away from studying product design was how to market to whatever demographic it is, or like how to best promote your product to a wider scope of people. So I translated the design from hand percussion into drum set because drum sets are more common. They're gonna sell better than like hand percussion.
That is very true. I need to look into Guster, because I mean everything you're saying right now, at least about how he plays. I love drums and I love djembe. I mean, I got a djembe in the car right now to just drive around with all the time. There's a time where I drive and I get to a red light and just pull out the djembe and just start playing with the radio, and sometimes I would continue driving and play the djembe, and I thought this is a bad idea. But even with just normal like drum kits and stuff, not that I don't want to use the sticks. I get it, you can use the sticks and it's good, but it feels so much better to just use the fingers and the hands and just kind of. I love the connection that I get that way. So yeah, I think I need to listen to Guster basically. So that's kind of fascinating. So you came. When did you come here from Pittsburgh?
Let's see. It would have been October 2016.
16. So it's been a couple of years.
October 23rd, 2016 was when I moved here.
Wow. October 23rd, 2016.
So like a year and a half now.
Huh.
But
welcome. We welcome.
Thank you.
We welcome you. So you and your band members moved here all together?
Right. So kind of have to rewind a little bit.
Rewind.
After college, I was homeless, and I mean, I had a place to stay. I was staying on a buddy's floor, and like the day that I had to get the rest of my shit out of my old house, I got a call from Dan DiDonato, who ran the open mic at a place that I used to work at in Pittsburgh called Shoots. So he called me up and said, "Hey, our drummer is trying to pass the bar exam, so he's taking the summer off from our gigs, and we need a stunt drummer." And I said, "Okay, all right, I will do this for you, but you have to agree to three things. You have to pay me for every gig. You have to feed me at every rehearsal, because they're like 4-hour-long rehearsals. You know, it's a wedding band mainly, and then they have their like originals that they do with Verity's Lie. So the wedding band's called the Hitmen, and then their original stuff is called Verity's Lie. And the third condition was they had to let me keep all of my music equipment at the rehearsal space. And through that, I made enough money to like put a down payment on a rental property, and also got another job in the meantime. And I met Brian, who was the bassist for Verity's Lie / the Hitmen. And I'm trying to think about timeline here. Oh, so all right, I was staying on my buddy's floor, and there was a bar at the bottom of the hill, and there was this dude that kept showing up and singing karaoke. We'd go down there every Sunday and do karaoke, and I recognized him from the open mic that the Hitmen used to run at Shoots, and his name's Q. He would just sit in the corner and twirl his mustache and like go up there and kill it on the microphone. And then one day I was just like, "Hey man, you should come down to our new open mic. Like I remember you from Shoots, and like you used to sing Amazing Grace and stuff like that. And like we got this new one going on. It's down at Steel City Tavern, which is in the Century 3 Mall. If you're familiar with Pittsburgh at all, or if any of your listeners
Yeah.
are. So he's like, yeah, I'll come down, but you got to play drums for my songs. And I was like, okay, cool. I'll take one less smoke break, you know. And so I started playing drums for him, and then Brian eventually started sticking around and playing bass during his sets, and then Brian and Q started living together.
Mm-hmm.
And I had already had that rental property that I was talking about, and one by one, they slowly started moving into that. And that was the original Buffalo house. That was in Beachview, which is part of Pittsburgh. So we lived in that house for 4 years as a band, and then we moved to Carnegie, which is about 10-15 minutes away from where we were, and we lived there for 9 months. So everything was great at this new place. We had a dedicated rehearsal space. Everybody had their own room and everything. And then 9 months into living there, the house caught fire.
Ugh. Shoot.
So as a result of the fire, we lost all of our worldly possessions, and also my rescue cat, who was the father of this one and the one cat that you haven't met yet. But the only thing that survived that was like completely untouched for the most part were all the musical instruments.
Oh, at least thank God about that, yeah.
Yeah. So we took that as a huge sign that we needed to move to a better place for music, because the Pittsburgh music scene has been dwindling over the past decade or so. And I took that as a sign of I need to get off my ass and start the patent process on that drum design, because I was sitting on it for like over a decade, you know. And we looked at a lot of places. We looked at Austin as one of them, but I told them, you know, unless you want your drummer to be in jail all the time, we can't move anywhere in Texas.
Wow, that's hilarious. Why do you say that?
Oh, marijuana laws.
Oh, okay, I get you. I guess that wouldn't be horrible, since I'm thinking about it, because it's like it's a very small part of my life. But okay, that makes sense. It's funny how something so tragic can motivate you and push you into something that, I mean, you've been needing to do for a while. You know, I connect with that, you know, with my fingers being almost lost. I don't know if you were.
I don't think you told me.
No,
this
okay,
time.
I'll tell you this. It was last September. It was after I went on my tour, right, and then just kind of went all across the East Coast or West Coast, East Coast next year maybe, and finished up. And went to Canada and then finished up in Shelton. There was I don't know, like a almost like a private concert going on or something like that. My aunts, they sell like their jewelry that they make, all this stuff. And they're like, Andre, you should come. It's the funnest place ever. It's like hippies everywhere and, you know, dancing around, and, you know, we got weed. We can give you some weed too. It's like, yeah, this sounds fun. And it just so happened like I could play at the stage. I was like, sweet, good thing I brought my guitar. So I played, met a whole bunch of, you know, really cool friends in Shelton, very nice musicians. The first time I actually had a group experience where, I mean, I was playing by myself and they're like, we're going to play with you. So they just start bringing in their keyboard and their drums. I'm just like, all right, I'm still playing on stage, just, you know, bringing everything up there. And then start playing, you know, with, I mean, everybody, backup vocals, beautiful woman, guitar, bass, I mean, piano and drums. And I'm sitting here just like, this is what it feels like to be like a part of a musical family. And it really just kind of, it just washed over me. Just kind of, I drowned in that feeling, and it was a great feeling, you know. And after that, I came back and I was like, yeah, I need to do something about this. And then just kind of sitting around, not really doing much. And then it was my mom. She needed some help, you know, cutting a hole in the wall, and she was very persistent that it needed to happen at that moment. And she was just for about a week straight, and it's not her fault, but for about a week straight, she just kept nagging me on. And, you know, I'm a very calm individual. You know, I don't get sucked into other people's storms. Mm-hmm. But I guess this was just, I had to get tested or something, and I failed because I was like, fine, you need this done, I'll get this. And then I went and got a what's it called? An angle grinder, mm-hmm. right? Took off the grinder, put on the saw, took the safety off, obviously. We need that, right? And just went in, you know, to gut a hole in the wall, and then, you know, got, I think, half of it done. And then I pulled the saw out the wall as it's spinning down, and I'm just kind of looking around about where I'm going to make the next cut, and then just touched both of these fingers. And like this one, if you can see, it doesn't bend at all. Mm-hmm. It just cut the tendon. The bone got shattered in the middle here. So it just or both of the, I don't know, fuck it. I'm not gonna go fancy, but so it doesn't bend. And then this one, thankfully, 97% momentum. You know, it's not 100%, but you're mostly there. We got some nice scars out of it. But I cut into it and just like didn't feel anything. Obviously, you know, the body kind of kicks in there. Not that pain is anything real, but just kind of saw it. Immediately just like detached myself, because like I'm already not necessarily attached to the body in that sense. Like I know I'm not the body, so I mean I'm looking at this and I see like the cartilage and the bone and just chunks, and I was like, huh. You know, go outside. I was like, hey Ma, look at this. She's like, oh my God, what do I do? What do we do? I was like, I think this is that one time where we should probably go to the hospital. Because I mean, I've been saying my whole life, I was like, you won't see me in the hospital unless a limb is, you know, hanging off. And I looked at this, I was like, I think that counts.
Yeah, it definitely counts.
Put some ice on it, you know, put a rag on it, and you know, went to the hospital. And they were looking at this, like, you must be in so much pain. I was like, no, not really. No. And they're like, okay. So they had me take it off, and then wasn't worried, wasn't afraid at all. I mean, I was kind of just like, shoot, I hope I can still play music, because I kind of love music, but it wasn't necessarily a pertinent thing in my mind. But I was sitting there, and after about maybe like half hour, 45 minutes, somebody comes in. Oh, let's take a look at this. So they take it off, and they're like, let's see you move it. And I had him, you know, down like this, just kind of clenched into a fist. I was like, okay, so I started moving, you know, pinky moves fine, ring finger moves fine, middle finger unrolls fine, you know, half bloody, just meat everywhere. And then this one, the index finger, I try to move it, brain says move, figure says nah, and it was like, fuck.
Yeah.
And I peel it open, right, which didn't hurt at all, still didn't hurt, peel it open, and then, oh, movement, I was like, oh God, okay, it moves. But for that fraction of a second where I just like, you know, that brain signal, you feel the brain signal, you're telling it to do it, and it's just not moving. It was just a break of reality for just a small second. I was like, oh shit. But it came back, and then they stitched it. They wanted me to get surgery. I was like, I ain't got that kind of money, bro. You know, like, it would have been at least $50,000, because believe it or not, my mom and my dad cut their fingers off like a year and two before this is happening. Just guess I didn't learn the lesson.
Were they doing the same thing?
They were just like a table saw, just pushing things in, and my mom just a little bit off the tip of her finger. My dad just a little more, you know, cutting to the nail. But gave my dad the same estimate, just like $25,000 to fix whatever. Nothing. Just like fuck this. He just kind of took care of it himself, and then just, you know, grew together and whatever, right? So I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna not go to get surgery, because it's gonna get insane. So I let it heal. I mean, but 4 days into it, you know, just kind of felt a passion, because I didn't want to lose, you know, music, because like I was telling you earlier, like music to me is something very serious, and something that has allowed me great freedom, and just being myself, and just, you know, opening up to myself, to people, to the world, and really feeling like I'm at home. So 4 days into it, I'm still bloodied up. I still got stitches in there. I'm just start playing the guitar. It's like I don't want to lose the feeling or the movement. Obviously, could not do anything with the index finger, so I had to shift everything over to these three fingers. So it took me about a month or so, maybe more, to just kind of even get back to where I was. But it kind of lit a fire under me to just, all right, well, you know, truly, you can't really put anything off. If you have this fire, if you have this passion, it's like, you got to do it now. And sure, we can sit around and just, you know, jibber jabber or just like bullshit about things. But it's like, okay, we have a dream. It's like, do something about it. So I recorded a single like right away. I was to release that, and then I recorded my, I don't even know what the fuck it is. I wrote a book, and then it's musical audiobook poetry.
Okay.
I don't know. But it was like 30 songs, so I just released that, and now I just got an EP out, so just like slowly making sure that I keep, you know, putting stuff out there, so I don't lose out on it, I guess. But yeah, so it was this that just kind of made me want to move, you know, forward more forward than I was, because you can get comfortable just kind of sitting around saying, oh, I don't know anything, and being a perfectionist, like I need this to sound like this. But I mean, this kind of allowed me to just say, okay, it's not going to be perfect. It's never going to be perfect. Especially now, my fingers are fucked, you know? So whatever sound comes out, the sound comes out, and I just have to be happy with it. And that's the moment that I started to realize that the little tiny imperfections, which, because talk about Bob Ross too, you know, the imperfections are happy little accidents. The same thing in music. The little things that I didn't intend to happen, I was like, oh my gosh, that gives it soul. That gives it, you know, something for me to connect to, for maybe the listener to connect to. It gives it something, like just something that wasn't supposed to be there, and it highlights everything else. And from then on, I was like, yeah, I love me so much more now. You know, just like when I'm playing, when I'm even writing music, my favorite thing to do now is just kind of improvise, you know? So that way I'm completely out of it. I just get to experience just the flow of it all, especially like through lyrics and everything. And if it's fucked up, awesome. You know? It gives it so much more novelty. But
so, this was pretty recent that you did that?
September. So
September.
It's been
wow.
less than 6 months, yeah.
Damn, dude.
Mm-hmm. It's still weird. Every day I wake up sometimes and it's like, I tried rock climbing for the first time. I used to rock climb a lot. So now there's the same things that I used to do. I was like, I wonder if I can do that still. So I went rock climbing. And I could do it, but then my finger's been kind of achy. Not necessarily achy, but just like, he's telling me I shouldn't do it again.
Right.
So which kind of sucks. I love it. But
do you deal with chronic pain?
No. I don't. No pain at all. It's just kind of... It's just, like if I try to move it, it's just like this, and then I make jokes of it when I go to class in school, you know, because I'm a teacher or a substitute, and I was like, "Dude, were you talking to me just now?" And he's like, "Are you pointing at me?" He's like, "This guy, you pointing?" You know, just making a huge joke about it. So it's cool. It doesn't bother me none, because especially, you know, I can play, like you said, you can't do bar chords. My bar chords are like, I have to do more bar chords now,
right?
Which is kind of cool because I can just move around. It's like, yeah, woohoo. It does get tired. It does get tired. But that's how life gives you.
Yeah. Well, I certainly know what it's like to deal with a chronic injury like that, because the job that I got whenever I was homeless and like working my way to building up the band and everything was Jiffy Lube, and you know, the quick change oil place, and we were allowed to work on our own cars there. So after hours, I was there by myself the one time, and I was changing out an oil pan, and like there was this cross member in front of the transmission pan that I needed to get out of there. So I'm like reaching up with my right arm as far as I can, like hyperextending my shoulder and banging this thing out of the way with a rubber mallet. And as a result of that, I woke up like 2 weeks later just in absolute pain, and I tore my rotator cuff. So that was something I suffered with for like probably like 3 or 4 years. It was a long time, and it was like very debilitating. You know, I had to miss work because I'd wake up some days and just be like, I can't move, and like we were living at that place that caught fire in Carnegie, Buffalo House 2, and we couldn't really salt the sidewalks because Pittsburgh is super hilly, and we would throw salt down on the icy sidewalk, and it would just roll down the hill. So we just kind of had to put up with it, you know? And I was on my way out to work the one day, and like slipped and fell with my right arm behind my back, like extended like this, and like just landed like that, and fell on my ass, and I got up, and I was like, moving my shoulder around.
It fixed it?
My shoulder doesn't hurt anymore, and like I didn't deal with it again for another 2 years.
Wow.
I want to say.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
crazy.
so cool. That is so lucky. My gosh, that's amazing.
And my buddy's like, so you're telling me you Fonzied your shoulder back into place?
Hey.
Yeah.
Dude, and are you mainly a drummer, I'm assuming?
I've been a drummer for 21 years now.
Oh, wow.
Yep. Yeah. I started when I was 10 and a half. And my parents got me a snare drum for Christmas in 4th grade. And I opened it up, I was like, wow, cool, this is so awesome. What is it? And they're like, it's a drum. like, yeah, I know that. They're like, you're a drummer. It's like, I didn't know that. They're like, yeah, well, you sit around in front of the TV and music comes on and you're there beating on the floor, beating on your legs. And I was like, oh, okay, all right. So I started drum lessons after that. Wow. And I was in middle school band and high school marching band, jazz band, pep band. I think it was a pep band. And I also had like 2 rock bands. One was a prog rock, all instrumental, called Aion, A-I-E-O-N, which means an eternal instant. So yeah, I did that, and then everybody wanted me to go to college for music, and I just wasn't having it because I knew music majors, and was like, that's not what I want to do. Like, I don't want to know how everybody else has said to do this thing. I want to figure it out on my own. But I took about 2 years off of drumming, so I guess overall 19 years.
Wow.
But came back to it. It was better than I ever was before because I wasn't thinking about like what my teacher was saying. Like, I wasn't thinking about sheet music. I was just playing along to CDs, and had a completely different style because in those 2 years I was really following New Orleans funk, like the meters. So I was just thinking the whole time, like, oh, I would play it like this. And I came back to drumming. My style was completely different.
Oh yeah, it's very healthy to walk away sometimes, just to almost forget your pre-programming in a sense. Because I mean, you have it set in a certain way, and you're like, yeah, this is how it needs to be done. And then when you walk away, and then you kind of forget. It's like, wait, how did I used to do this? And you just kind of maybe start to improvise a little bit, or just kind of get the feel of it, and then yeah, things just kind of change. But dude, your parents, I gotta say, your parents are ballsy. Giving a fourth grader drums. Oh my gosh. We made a mistake with my sister giving her like drums when she was, maybe like 7, which is obviously not a 4th grader, but still, it's like, here's some drums. Oh boy, the house did not sleep. We're like, we should hide this now. But also very nice of them to recognize, just kind of talent. I'd like to think I'm a secret drummer, but never really did anything with it. I just kind of tap, and then just recently, got a djembe because it's so easily transportable, and just take it anywhere with you. The biggest thing, which is why I admire that you have your drums the way they are, just to easily move them around, because it's a pain in the ass. It's like haul around this huge thing and then this other huge thing. Don't know the names of any of those huge things, but it's like hauling that around. It's like that could slow somebody down. So like somebody's passion be like, well, I do want to be a drummer, but you got to get a van to move this here. So something that's compact I think it would be a lot more approachable for people. Which I tell a lot of my students in school too. Just any that are musically oriented, they're like, oh, I'll play drums. I was like, keep playing drums. Like, if I know one thing right now, it's that in Seattle, or like the music scene, it needs drummers. Because we always want a drummer, and we need keyboardists. Everything else, like I see everything is thrown around. I see celloists, and I mean, I love them to death. I want to find one, but I see that, and I see people on the bass, and I see all these things. But everybody's always, we need a pianist, and we need a drummer. And I was like, you do this, and in 3-4 years down the road, people are going to be lining up to just join their band if that's what you want. If that's what you want.
Well, I mean, like I was watching this or reading this interview with the Mars Volta.
The Mars Volta.
Do you know At the Drive-In?
At the Drive-In. That sounds familiar.
Okay, At the Drive-In was kind of big in like the late 90s, and they had Relationship of Command was their last album before they split up. And then they split in 2 directions. So there was Sparta, which focused more on like the emo kind of sound.
That's funny.
And then there was the Mars Volta, which focused more on the prog rock kind of psychedelia sound. And like At the Drive-In was definitely an intersection of those 2 styles and those main people. But anyway, I was reading this interview with Cedric Bixler Zavala and Omar Rodriguez Lopez, which are the 2 main Mars Volta guys, and they were saying like down in South America, or like the I don't know what you would refer to those as
South Americans.
Well, like I mean that region. So like like Hispanic countries. where they
South
originate
America.
from.
Okay, yeah.
He was talking about like down there, you know, you learn drums first, and then after that, you learn conga, and then you know the conga kind of builds upon the foundations of the rhythm, but also like congas have 11 different notes on each drum, so you get more of like a melodic kind of sound to it, and that builds on like the principles of melody and like variation of note and all that, and then you go from conga to bass, and then from bass to guitar, and then like after that it's piano, strings, whatever. And I feel like I kind of followed that up to conga. Because after I saw Guster, I was just like, what are those things that he's playing? You know, 15-year-old me watching this band open up for Bare Naked Ladies. And my sister's friend was like, oh, those are congas. And I was like, what are those? You know? So after that, I devoted a lot of time and money and like study to hand percussion, world percussion. So I started out with congas and bongos, and then got into djembe and was with a somewhat traditional African community drumming group called Be Well Drum On out of Canfield, Ohio, and did a ton of stuff with them. Recorded some stuff. We used to do First Night in Akron. First Night's the New Year's Eve event. But we would just go around and do hand drumming stuff. I borrowed some marching equipment so that we could like strap it to our chests and go around. And I think that also lent itself to like my different style when I came back, because I think I was playing more conga later in the first portion of my career in percussion.
That is just really cool. I mean, just a transformation and how things end up being how they end up being, I guess. So what drives you to create music now? Like what are you trying to share?
I don't know. It's just for me, it's about self-expression. Plus, I'm a huge ham. Like I love being in the spotlight, even though I have terrible stage fright. Like, like I said, I followed that kind of mentality up to conga, and I didn't start playing guitar until I was 25.
Wow.
And it was just because I was constantly surrounded by musicians. You know, the whole band lived in the same house. There were guitars everywhere, and you know, I grew up having a guitar in the hallway in front of the laundry chute. But nobody knew how to play it. Nobody knew how to tune it. And it was a wreck. So like you couldn't really play it if you tuned it up. But yeah, I just I wanted to not be stuck behind the cage anymore. You know, being a drummer, you just see ass all the time.
Yeah. That's why you need to be in an all-woman band. Just like, all right, I appreciate this of you. All right, that's okay.
But yeah, I wanted to be like out there, and I didn't really get into writing much music until this past year. And I think that part of that was because, you know, moving out here, being in a new scene, you can, like you mentioned before, you can go to a different open mic every night of the week here. You know, whether that's in Seattle, Tacoma, Olympia, whatever. And I don't know, I got something to say. Might not make any sense, might not be worth saying, but I want to say it.
Hey, whatever you got to say, it needs to be said, because there's going to be people that want to say it and they don't have the ability to say it, right? So again, you're just kind of taking on the responsibility. It's like, all right, I am the speaker for, who cares? Maybe there's 1,000 people in the world that think what you think, and nobody's there to talk for them. You're like, I will do it. I will step forward in front of the spotlight, as much as I love it and hate it, and I will say these things that might or might not make sense to you, but they make sense to me.
Right. Well, I'm a firm believer that, like, art doesn't have to have meaning behind it. You can create something artistic just for the sheer fact that it's fun to look at. It doesn't have to make any sense.
True.
I don't have to be, like, making a statement. But, you know, I think a lot of it also, I spent a year in Pittsburgh. Like, I helped them move out here. We drove cross country in 3 different cars with only 3 drivers, and helped them move out here. We went to Mojam Mondays, the very first day that we were out here. Are you familiar with Mojam?
I believe so. No.
You should check it out. It's up in Fremont. It's like this open jam kind of deal, and you go there, and whatever instrument you play, you put your name on the board in that column, and you have no idea who you're going to get on stage with, including like the vocalist. Like, they don't know what they're going to say before they get up there.
That's so cool.
But since you're into improv type stuff, like that's all improv. So you should check it out.
Oh yeah. Okay.
But yeah, so I lived in Pittsburgh for a year after they first moved out here, and I made the mistake of falling in love with somebody.
It happens.
Plus, I didn't want to like pick up and move right as I was like filing my patent. Like, I wanted to have my station, like have my space, and accomplish all that. And I had signed up for another year with the Pittsburgh Steelers drumline, and I didn't want to like abandon them halfway through the season and be like, all right, the other side of the country. So like being stuck in that space, it was a very small house, like one bedroom on the first floor with the bathroom attached, living room, kitchen, and then an upstairs bedroom, and that was it. So there was like no space to be in, and I just wanted to sit around and play piano and play guitar all day, so I did a lot of that. But after moving out here, I was thinking about how I'm self-conscious about my writing, and like, my lyrics always come out cheesy, and I just sort of roll my eyes at them. So I made it a point to listen to pop radio for a week. And just listening to those lyrics, I was like, wow, these are fucking awful. Like, as bad as I think my stuff is, this shit is just terrible. So I decided I was just going to like not care. And whatever comes to mind or whatever I think sounds good, that's going to be my music.
That's all you can do.
I'm gonna grab a glass of water. Do you need anything?
Do it. No, I got some water in my thing, or I should say tea. I got some tea in my thing. I travel loaded. Because anywhere I try to go to, it's like the same thing with like open mics. It's either alcohol or water, and I'm just like, well, I get bored of this, and I don't drink, so.
Oh, you don't drink?
Yeah, no. Art kind of fucked me up. When I became an artist, I might as well have become a fucking monk.
Oh.
Believe me. Like, stop drinking, stop having sex. I know. Stop living in the normal world, and just kind of went deeper into the internal world. Just kind of started exploring more of, I don't know, Buddhism or Hinduism or just all that stuff. Just kind of, just exploring the internal realms and what is possible. Hermeticism, magic, just you name it. I was like, when I got into art, it was the first time that I guess I questioned how everything was, and it made me realize that I've been force-fed bullshit my whole life. So that's when I was like, okay, what's the first thing that I've always wanted to look into that I didn't because the world was saying, oh, that's fucking bullshit. And I was like, alchemy, right? I always read, not necessarily read about alchemy, but surrounded by like, I used to watch anime, like Full Metal Alchemist, and I was like, that was cool. They'd draw like a transmutation circle like that, and just like things would happen. It's like, that's awesome. Alchemy's cool. And then just things here and there. People used to practice alchemy and how it like pushed forward into chemistry, and I love chemistry, all that stuff. So I was like, I'm gonna read into alchemy. I started reading it, and what it's implied as being just a whole bunch of people trying to turn lead into gold, and obviously you can't do that, right? But what it is it's all a metaphor about the human spirit of
right.
who you are. So it's like you start out as lead, your heart or whatnot, or your soul, and you're trying to convert it into just being holy, or just like a Buddha, or just like transcend into your rainbow body, or just like become Jesus, whatever. All these things are the same shit. And you transmute it into gold, and you do it by there's certain principles, but it's like, you know, as above, so below. So it's like same thing happens on the minutiae of scales. You know, just, you know, how the tree grows, right? Just how the branches spread, the rings or whatnot, and how the universe unfolds. How the what's it called? What are we in a galaxy? Like the wings of the galaxy, you know, all these things. You know, how everything's connected. So they would approach a sense of just like playing around with tinctures to just kind of to do the same thing with their souls. So based on what they focus their mind on, you know, physically in this physical realm, it would do the same thing in their, you know, mental state, in their emotional, you know, or spiritual state. So if they're sitting there and diluting, you know, something. They like to make tinctures of just like plants. So they take a plant with a medicinal property and they, you know, extract the essence. So you won't, you know, just put in alcohol and you do things to it, and then you purify it, and then you concentrate it, and then, you know, this whole process that you would focus on, just, you know, whatever plant that you picked, it would do the same thing to your soul. So obviously it's a process, and the more you can focus on the detail, the more you can do a better job with whatever you're doing with your hands, you know, in physical. It does the same thing to your spiritual. Mm-hmm. So I read all this and I was like, oh my god, what is this? I've never read it. Like, what? Why are they keeping this from people? Because it's a tool to just, like, you know, to become I don't know, a better person. And I don't know if you can say a better person, but just like more actualized, like being able to do more of what you want to do and just have more freedom. And what's so bad about, you know, focusing on the detail and try to get better at what your skill is, right? Mm-hmm. So I read into that and just kind of understood like the connection between the feminine and masculine, how you know, again, our society's driven toward the masculine a lot more, how, you know, you have to go out there and do stuff, and the only thing that's real is this physical world, and, you know, touch, sense, smell, think, you know, nothing about the internal, the feminine. And one of the key steps is being able to go back and in I guess in Jung terms, like the anima, on the male side, the feminine aspect of your brain, you kind of have to let her out and just kind of, you have to co-drive this vessel that we're walking, right? So you have to be hermaphroditic in mind, you know, mm-hmm. So just kind of expand both aspects of the brain. And then that's one of the steps of just like kind of keep on moving to self-actualization, right? So I read into that, and then I read, and I was like, this is fascinating, what else? And then I went and like, just like, same thing, like magic. I was like, this is the same shit. You just kind of sit there and visualize what you want, and you just kind of, in your mind, trying to, I guess, build a picture of what you want to happen in the world, and you kind of just let the universe slowly make it happen. So, I mean, our brain, simplest example is, you know, you want to, I don't know, you want to build a table, right? You can build a table right now, just like start cutting things, but you're not gonna really understand. If you sit down and you think of a table, okay, I want a table that has 6 legs. Okay, you see it in your head. Okay, there's gonna be like this or whatever you're gonna do it. Maybe it's a circular table. You see it in your head, draw an image, right? Then you're like, okay, to make it better, put on paper. Put on paper, you get the dimensions right because you already seen it in your mind, and then that's the process that you take. Okay, what do I need for materials? You label it, you know, give it more detail. Dimensions, okay, this needs to be 6 inches by 12, whatever, right? Eventually you actually start to cutting it, putting it together, and you have a table, right? Mm-hmm. Everything starts out in the mental, everything starts in your mind, and it's the fact that you got that image in your mind to know a direction, and also with combination with discipline and will, that you can start to take out something that's immaterial, your thoughts, right, into something physical that's in this world. And we can all look around and see, there's a lot of shit that's been built and made by humans that didn't necessarily exist. Same thing with your drums. Mm-hmm. Shit was an idea until you took it through the ringer. You know, you have to see it, you have to hear it, you have to like see every single detail before you put it into place. And look at that! I just invented something that didn't exist. Mm-hmm. Fuck you all, right? You know. But so that's just the same thing with magic, right? You sit there and just kind of see that and just kind of put that intention into the world and just kind of notice how the world kind of brings you into whatever situation you want to be in. It's the same thing as the New Age thing that's going around. You know, just like, think it and it will happen. Or like, I don't know what the fuck they're talking about. They're saying, the secret, what is the secret? They're just like, if positive thinking or something, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's like the smallest part of what the ancient technologies is, which is kind of getting the grasp of your consciousness. I've been diving back into it recently, actually. Just I went a little bit nuts.
You went too far down the rabbit hole.
Kind of, right? I mean, I got to a point where I was like, it was so good. Like I felt powerful. It felt really good, and it's when you go down this line, you really open yourself up to it because you're no longer grounded in the physical realm. It's like it's easy to just walk around. Things are real. Kind of don't have this vibrational anxiety about just kind of floating away. Mm-hmm. When you start to see everything as fake, which is just like an illusion, a hologram, it's kind of harder to, because you start seeing cues, things that your brain starts to fill in, right? And you're saying, oh, okay, so the universe is sending me that, and I'm going to do that. And if it was a few years ago, I ended up in London. Didn't plan it.
Accidentally.
Yeah. It's just kind of, things are just happening, and things are so loud, and things are just, I mean, they felt like they were pre-planned. They're just kind of put into place like a chess piece or like a chessboard, and things are just happening. And I felt like I was like, dude, I felt like I was meeting angels and shit. Like the essence of the people that would come into my life. I was like, I'd see in their eyes, and I just see a glow, and then you feel something. You're like, wow, something's different about you, And then I end up getting to London, and then or just United Kingdom, and then I end up in London a little later. I was in Whitecastle or Newcastle upon Tyne, and that's when like I felt like I was completely not in control, in the sense that I was just being directed. Like, there would just be constant signs about things that were like a synchronicity, things that were pertinent to me, a physical and an emotional event taking place and having substantial I guess connection between the two. So things would happen, I was like, oh my god, and then I'd go this way, and things that were just getting pulled up and I guess drove me to a final destination. And I always would meet like an incredible human being at that end of the whatever like line or path was placed in there for the day, or just like a very meaningful interaction with somebody, or just get something that I really needed, and I was like, wow, this is incredible. And then it kind of spiraled out of control a little bit. It just kind of, it felt like mania, I felt quite manic for that moment. And then I came back and I was like, oh boy, like it was my words, I guess. I felt like I necessarily, you don't see God. The final moment that was just kind of made me see this. I was standing in the subway, just underground in the UK. I love that place, first of all, but standing there and just like hearing the conversation going around me, and I almost kind of got like pulled up and out from my own body, right? And I'm standing there and I'm hearing this, and I had the sensation that I myself was the world, right? And every single person around me was a neuron, just kind of communicating when they need to communicate in order for me to just go in a certain direction. So, and me, my own body that was standing there, I was just I was just a cell in my own huge brain, I guess. So it's like the world is my own brain. And I was like, all right, this is pretty epic. So when I got back, I didn't talk to anybody for probably a good year. I just kind of looking through all of these things, because you ask for a sign from the world that something else is going on, and you get something powerful, and then you start to question, it's like, am I really sane? But we're all kind of crazy. So then I stepped back from it a little bit, and I was like, okay, I don't care about that, and just kind of went back into the normal world of the three-dimensional, up, down, left, right taste. And got boring. Got boring. So I got back into just like psychoanalytics just not too long ago, and like Carl Jung and psychology of the mind, how the personality is structured, and just kind of started to, not too long ago, just try to step away from it and not be so attached, because being attached to I mean, anything. It just leads to so much disaster, suffering. Buddha said that.
Speaking of which, I think this would be a perfect time to take a break from interview and maybe play some music.
I love music.
All right, well, let me grab my guitar.
Music and piano.
Well, it is now.
It is not. She's mine, baby.
This is actually Brian's guitar, but
I know you have banjos on the walls and guitar.
Well, we had like 14 guitars, I think, at one point. And after the fire, I was like, guys, I need a guitar. Like, you're moving cross country, and I won't have access to a guitar. Can I have one of the guitars? And Brian got this for like $30, maybe.
The Fender for $30? Is it nice?
He has a story behind it, but you'll have to ask him and interview him.
Has Brian? Happily sit down and hang out and talk.
Oh, you should grab this guitar here.
That guitar?
Yeah. Get up.
Ooh, some tape. Yeah.
So, the song is about the uncertainty of what happens to us when we die. And there's two different versions of it. So I have one that's just 2 chords and very slow. E minor and C.
Oh. Can you tune by ear?
Nope.
Fine. Cell phone. I agree. Bum. That's one skill that maybe one day I'll get. If I work on it, which I doubt. The uncertainty of dying. It sounds like a good song. I like a lot of the metaphysical stuff. It's much more interesting than predictable things.
Well, this song is it's one of the 7
deadly sins.
One of the 7 soliloquies for a novel that I am eventually going to write.
Do it.
But you kind of reminded me of it when you mentioned that, like, you thought we were all neurons and like communicating with one another, and like we are the brain cells of the planet, because I had this realization that like we are kind of the reproductive cells of the world.
Nice.
And one day eventually we're going to leave this planet and go to another planet and make it like this planet. So the world is like, it has this plan for us to like go off and reproduce itself elsewhere in the universe or solar system or whatever.
Hey, Elon Musk is on it. That's for sure.
And that got me thinking about the theory that we're like all derived from the same 12 humans. There were like 12 original humans that we can trace our genealogy back to.
It would explain like the personality types and just like how we're all. I had a loose theory on it, not necessarily anything solid, but that there was only 12 actual people like in the world. We're all just like I guess different takes on
infinite soul recursion type stuff. Is that what you're talking about? Like how we just keep reincarnating into the same people over and over again?
Not in this instance. Like the fact that let's just picture, let's go up, right? It's like, let's say God is the guy sitting up there, right? Beneath God sitting up there is like these 12 people, whom have their essence kind of driven into the world, right? And one essence of this one person is like a million people, and it's the same person. You've met people who are like, you remind me of, Jake. Right. You're so Jake. You say the same shit Jake says. I mean, your hair's a little different, and maybe like you're more racist, but you're
more racist.
But that's what I had because I did door-to-door sales, and I met a lot of people. I was like, they just say the same shit all the time. They're like, oh, you're like this guy, you're like that guy, and then you learn how to just manipulate them, obviously, which is your job as a salesman. And I stopped doing that because I felt like a shitty person, but I was good. That's where that started. I was like, there's not that many original people out there.
What did you sell?
Comcast, just the internet and
Comcast, okay.
TV. Yeah, it's like, hey, you got DirecTV? Let me fix that for you. Mm-hmm. Or you don't have the phone package? Let me save you some money. I was the best. I was really good. Like
I was terrible at door to door. Like I was great over the phone doing fundraising, but door to door shit, I couldn't get the hang of it. And like that was the first job I had when I moved out here was Greenpeace door to door fundraising. And,
at least that's like a noble cause.
Yeah, well, I mean, all the stuff that I worked for, they typically were noble causes. Mm-hmm. Okay, so why don't we do both versions of it, and then you can pick whichever one you like for your podcast.
Sure.
So it's mainly going to be E minor. There's a lot of in there. The majority of the song.
Cool. Oh, okay, cool.
Something is still out of tune. There we go. What is going on here?
I'm happy you want to do this because most of the time I ask, like, you want to do stuff? I'm like, nah. All right.
Second, this thing's got it on.
You do have big hands. You have big hands. Wow.
Tuners.
Oh, then you just stuff at the end and just do it.
Yeah, the headstock ones.
Mm-hmm.
Close enough. All black. He only talks to dead folk, and he knows just when your number's up, 'cause he's the one who pulls the full tab to give to you to make you wait your turn. Where did he go? Nobody knows, not even death can tell us so. It could be nothingness. Outside the gates of someplace, I don't know where, but I hear the line's pretty long. Someone else will check you in, lay your more Where do we go? Nobody knows, not even Valhalla can tell us so. Just try to do your best. Maybe you'll get to go another time. Make all your own decisions right. Oh God, wouldn't that be so nice? Where do we go? Nobody knows, not even the Buddha will tell us so. Just work on happiness. Where do we go? Nobody knows, not even death will tell us so. Just try to get some rest. Moral is here, my friends. No one quite knows when it ends. Just when he'll tap your shoulder. Cool. Yeah. All right.
Nice. And
So,
very soon as well, like that.
thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. The second version has 2 more chords in it, so we're gonna go E minor to the A minor, to the C, to the B7.
Oh, yes, I love B7s.
And I'm trying to think the rhythm. Let's see.
One of those chords that I'm still happy I can do.
Okay, yeah, I got it. He walks only in the shadow of the nighttime, wears all black. He only talks to dead folk, and he knows just when your number's up, 'cause he's the one who pulls the full tab to give to you to make you wait your turn. Where do we go? Nobody knows, not even death can tell us so. It could be nothingness. We'll wait outside the gates of someplace, don't know where, but I hear the lines pretty long. Someone else will check you in, weigh your morals against your sins, or so they like to tell us. Where do we go? Nobody knows, not even Valhalla can tell us so. Just try to do your best. Maybe you get to go another time, make all your own decisions right. Oh God, wouldn't that be so nice? Where do we go? Nobody knows, not even the Buddha will tell us so. Just work on happiness. Where do we go? Nobody knows, not even death will tell us so. Just try to get some rest. Hey! Moral is here, my friends. No one quite knows when it ends. Just when he'll tap your shoulder. Go! La 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 la.
Yeah. Oh, the B7 though, that's a great addition. That's a great addition. I love that chord. That's like I said, it was it's one of the one of the ones that I really am happy I can still do because a lot of the chords kind of fell away from me. But the B7 was like, oh. Still. It was nice.
Yeah, I definitely like have written more songs than chords I know. Like, I mean.
Okay, cool. I was like, wait a second. I see what you said.
So we have this song. It's called Stained Glass Windows. The whole thing's just G, right? Mm-hmm. E minor, C. Ooh, that's a bad C. And then creep up to the D7. And the chorus goes E minor, C, G, B7. So like when I was running the chord progression by Brian, I was like, "What should I do here?" He's like, B7. I was like, "Oh, I know how to do that. I don't have to learn a new chord."
So is it? Do you write your own songs too, or do you guys write for the band?
Well, usually how it goes is somebody will bring a song to the rest of the band, mm-hmm. and you know, I'll throw in the drum part, mm-hmm. typically. But like, so we have one called Love and Sex, and it's this little sweet soul kind of song. Oop, wrong chords. So it's C, E minor, A minor, F. Which I'm shit at F's, by the way. And Brian came to us with I think about like half the song written. And I love playing swing, you know. And we're like a genre rock kind of band. We never write the same genre twice.
That's good.
But why do you sing me such sweet, sweet songs? For your lullabies, they bore me to death. And I'm still waiting for these amphetamines to pick me up. Got 4 hours to go before I take my final breath. And you're exactly what I need, lying right there next to me. Before I fall asleep, but you're not what I need when I wake. 'Cause I can't bear your face in the green light of the day. So Brian came to us with the first part of that, right? And we wanted to like say the same thing but differently for the different parts. So it's like, you know, why do you sing me such sweet, sweet songs? Like, okay, what can we do with that? So, why do you give me such bitter words? Well, your criticisms that keep me awake. The song's actually about drugs. So we're like, alright, covered amphetamines. What comes after amphetamines? Alright. Got 4 hours to go. Oh wait, that's the wrong part. Why do you give me such bop bitter words? Criticisms, they bore me to death. And I'm still waiting for the sedatives to take me. Got 4 hours to go before I break the day. You're not what I need, lying right there next to me. In my bitter reverie, but you're exactly what I need when I wake. 'Cause I can't face the day without you, without you, without you. You see, it's just the same 4 chords over and over again, right? The song needs a bridge. Can't think of a bridge, we just default to blows. Whoa, 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 whoa. deep wounds. Well, your reticence, it keeps me at bay. And I'm still waiting for this ketamine to fuck me up. I got 4 hours to go, then I finally had enough, babe. Oh, not what I need. I'm right there next to me, 'cause I'm only half asleep. You're not what I need when I wake. If I can't bear myself in the green light of the day, green light of the day, hey, hey, clean light of the day, day, hey, clean light of the day. So that's how that song came about, right?
So good. And your voice, dude, is like really good. It reminded me of somebody, and I don't know people's names or I'd say it, but shoot, dude, like really nice, very powerful, really good voice.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks. Yeah, so Brian wrote half to 2/3 of that song, and then we just filled in the gaps, and that's how a lot of our stuff works.
See, that's the most beautiful thing about just like, collaborating and working with other people. Is just like you just refine the idea, because it can get so trapped and so monotonous in one person's mind. You're like, I need this, and just you try to look at it from different perspectives. You do, but you're still one person,
Right.
So just like having somebody just like, hey, what do you think? And then just having you kind of just even transform it, mold it. I'll listen to commentary from like some of my really like favorite artists. They'll say the same thing. It's like, oh, you came in here, we gave him this, or I gave him this, and then we sat around and played around, and then oh my gosh, it came out 1,000 times better.
Yeah.
I was like, shoot.
Yeah, man. Well, I mean, we've always been a collective. We've had up to like 13 people on stage with us at a show.
Wow.
Like,
wow. Shoot.
2 drummers at once, horn section, 2 piano players, 2 bassists sometimes. Like,
That's something.
yeah. And we're on hiatus right now. We agreed that we all needed like a bit of a break from the hubbub, like get settled into the Northwest a little bit better. I totally agreed, because I was like, it's fine. I'm trying to start a drum company and doing all this patent work, because the patent process, and you were kind of talking about this before, like it's a monumental task to start a company, to be an entrepreneur, because you have to learn how to do everything yourself first. And in that year between moving them out here and like me finally moving out here, I had to learn how to do video, how to build a website, how to do social networking for business, how to Twitter, how to Instagram.
I know, right? Gosh.
Like all those things, and I'm burnt out, to be honest. I had to learn so many new skills in order to do this one thing. And I have 2 months now that I'm kind of taking off. Yeah, it's April still, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I have 2 months, because I'm going to be launching pre-orders in June for my drums, and it's going to be somewhat of a soft release. Hopefully, I get a huge response and everybody wants one. But I just needed to step away from everything, because you know what NAMM is?
NAMM.
NAMM, N-A-M-M.
No.
That is the National Association of Music Merchants. So twice a year they do these trade shows that's like everybody in the industry, they show off all their new gear. So Fender, Gibson, Nord, all of the big names are there, and some of the small names. So that happens in January, February. Yeah, it was January. And I didn't think I was going to make it. I wanted to go for my first year to kind of go around, see what other people's booths are, talk to other inventors and CEOs and presidents of these companies and stuff like that. And I didn't think I was going to have the money for it, and shit suddenly clicked together. I was able to get credit for the first time in a long time. So I was just like, all right, this trip is going on this card, and I'll pay it off to build up to getting my shop together to manufacture and all that. But so while I'm in between layovers, I'm on the phone with my patent lawyer, like getting the rest of the patent filed and everything. And I land in John Wayne Airport, or I think it's Orange County, Anaheim kind of area. It's at the Anaheim Convention Center. And I get on the phone with him again, and I'm like, all right, so did you file? And he's like, yes, you are filed with the USPTO, U.S. Patent and Trademark Office. And that was a huge relief that I had that process finished, because it's 2-year wait after you do that. And it's just like arguing in litigation to make sure that your idea is novel.
Original, yeah.
Yeah. And stepped off the plane, went to my very first NAMM, and it was like a hell of an experience. 12,000 musicians.
Oh.
So the after parties are sick, right? Yeah. But I met so many people, I was sitting next to celebrity drummers and didn't even know it, and I was just striking up a conversation with them with my fucking $9 beer, and got a lot of useful information from it. I partnered with Reverb.com. They're like a marketplace for you to sell used instruments.
Yeah, they're also like Bandcamp almost, right? You can upload their stuff to it.
No, that's Reverb Nation.
Oh,
so Reverb.com is a marketplace, and they started out with used equipment, but then custom sellers wanted to sell their stuff on there, and I met one of them at the show, and went to their booth the next couple days and talked to them and partnered up with them. So I now am able to sell T-shirts to raise money to build a shop and do this product release in June. And yeah, it's a hell of a lot less daunting now that I've reached this stage. So I'm taking these 2 months off to
and you deserve it, for sure.
It's been a long 36 months, my friend.
I believe you. I mean, especially just from being homeless to just house burning down, losing a cat, which is the saddest thing, I swear. But at least the instruments stayed alive, because if you lost cats and instruments, I'd just break down. I'll break down. If I lost my guitar and my kitty, I'd cry so hard. But yeah, it's definitely need the rest. I'm in a similar place where I'm just I think for the last month I just fuck everything, because my cat got sick actually. She got an abscess on her thigh, and it was scary. Oh my god! But we took care of it. I was taking care of her every day, and which is a good time for me as well to just kind of relax but heal whatever I needed to heal, or just kind of not be so. All right, what's next? Let's go do this. Like you said, got to learn so many things to do yourself, and then I've already just launched websites and products, and you go out there and you play music and you talk to people, and you at school too, just kind of teaching how to be a good human being. And I feel like I just kind of took so much upon my shoulders, and I keep myself on just the highest of standards. And man, I haven't watched TV in years, dude. And then that's when the cat got sick, which kind of just shocked me. I was like, this is real? We got to a point where clean out the wound and everything like that. This is where it started to turn around. But almost her whole thigh, skin was gone, and fur was gone, so it's straight muscle. I could see the striations of her quad, right? I could see the anatomy, and I was like, what? Which it wasn't crazy, the fact that I could see this. I didn't care much when it was my flesh. I've seen flesh before. It's pre-med, so it's I did plenty of that. But just the fact that it could just happen, because I don't know what even happened with her. I don't know if it just maybe some barbed wire, or maybe you got bit or something. But
okay, so you don't know if it was
I don't know
a wound or a.
It started out just a few spots here and there. I was like, man, that's weird, whatever. And then the next day, just the stench of rotten flesh, and I was like, what the fuck's going on? So we just kind of put some aloe on it, some aloe vera, to just draw out all the pus, and then just kept growing, getting bigger and bigger. And yeah, to the point where it just turned around, started healing. It was huge and weird, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is intense. But thanks to my mom, and she helped a lot, and I sat around there just holding her, watching TV. She was healing, I was taking a break, also healing in whatever way I needed to. But I just sat there and just fucking watched TV. All the superhero Netflix stuff, just Jessica Jones and Iron Fist and the Defenders, just all that stuff. Because I love the superhero stuff, but again, just being so hard on myself. I could be doing useful things and,
Right.
consuming television.
Mm-hmm.
Which I also get, I'm an artist, you're an artist. That is also art. It's
Right,
just
yeah,
so
I've
easy
always
to
admired, like, TV and movie
Mm-hmm.
stuff as, like, an art form. My parents watched a lot of sitcoms growing up, and I hated them. But, going to college, I was in product design, like I told you. And the other side of my department was special effects and movie makeup. So those were the kids that I was hanging out with, because they were all weirdos.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
The majority of the people in the product design department were squares. So, I was hanging out with all the metalheads who were like making monster makeup and shit like that. And I really like studied a lot of horror movies and like movie making. And I was part of a comedy troupe for a while. Lived with actually the guy that made me homeless. He was also into movie makeup. Like that's what he went to school for. He wasn't any good at it, but he wanted to be a producer, and he formed this comedy troupe, or helped form this comedy troupe, and really, really got into the art of movie and television. Mm-hmm. So I mean, we have a few things that we watch. Like we always watch The Flash religiously.
Flash is so good. I agree.
And Doctor Who and shit like
Mm-hmm,
that. But I'm not really a TV consumer. We don't have cable. I can't just like go downstairs and turn on a channel or something.
They're just smart these days anyway. Smart. Most people don't have it anymore. Netflix is doing just the best job, and like just streaming services. Like I pay for one that's like $3 a month, and it's just documentaries about everything. Psychology, chemistry, biology, life, and I'm just like, yeah, because I love documentaries. My one go. I remember I was doing like a little short episode that different podcasts, just like short episodes, of the Almighty Update, and I just do like a 5-minute thing about when I make it big, like huge. I'm gonna take a year off to do nothing but watch documentaries. Just literally, just watch documentaries nonstop, and then just like go to the gym, and sometimes just maybe go on a treadmill and just watch like 2 hours of documentaries while I'm running around, and just do absolutely nothing with that. Just like knowledge, just siphoning all knowledge that just kind of gets to me, I guess. Which the day after I said that, I just started watching documentaries. It's like, why am I not watching documentaries right now? I can make some time. Fuck it. So, how did you become homeless? Like you just mentioned, it was this gentleman helped you become homeless.
Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of a sore subject.
It's not a fun time.
Yeah, well, basically, like, he put the bills in my name, and then I was paying my portion of the bills, but he wasn't paying his, and then he was blaming me for it. So, like, he was just a volatile person to begin with, and like we always kind of had to like control him and put kid gloves on and stuff, But yeah, we just had a falling out, and I was just like, you know what, man, I'm done.
Rightly so.
And being homeless was a better option than dealing with that any further.
I get that.
And it all turned out for the better. It set me on the path that I'm on now. And if that hadn't happened, I might not have been in that wedding band. Which means I wouldn't have formed this band and like formed this family that all lives together and takes care of one another. So. Yeah, I mean, it all turned out all right.
Yep, you got to be thankful even for all of that stuff that's going around. That's for sure. Don't call him just like mentally. Thanks for being an asshole. I'm doing good now because of you. See, that's one of the thoughts that kind of led me to just loving everybody, just unconditional love toward everybody. Because like it doesn't matter what you do to me, whether you. Short of killing me, but when you kill me, who gives a fuck? At that point, whatever, I'm dead. But whatever you put me through, it allows me to, respond in one sort of way, which will allow me to see a bigger portion of who I am. If you put me in a scenario where I've never been at, or in, or whatnot, I have to survive. So to see how I respond to the scenario will allow me to know more about myself, which will allow me to just kind of I don't know, grow past it or grow from it or whatnot. So, and then, then again, be wherever I need to be. So whether it's a good experience, which this has been an amazing experience, I'm so happy we could sit around on a beautiful Tuesday. It's bullshit. Or, it's like, my first girlfriend in school was like a heroin addict, or got into a heroin addict, and just like a whole bunch of stuff happened there. Or like like I was telling you, when I had the homeless guys move in with me and just kind of drain me. I mean, and they were both parasitic in nature, which I guess I understand why they were homeless in a sense, but it wasn't a great experience, but it led to a lot of insight about who I am, which at that point is like, thank you, thank you. Which, I just remember that it was one of those gentlemen. One of them was a complete liar. He wasn't even homeless. He just wanted a free ride. But the other one, I knew him for a while from Comcast, door to door. He was the one that, I guess he left his guitar, before, because I gave him a month, and they didn't do anything in that month. I was like, all right, peace out. And he's like, I want you to have this guitar. A raggedy, broken thing, but it was because he left his guitar in my house. As a gift that following winter, the next winter, when I was having just completely emotional duress, I guess, just I don't know what, just so heavy that the guitar was sitting there, and I just decided to just pick it up, and then felt how powerful a weapon it was, really like an emotional weapon, just kind of a slash through. I was sitting there after I was done, just kind of purging all of this, and I was like, I know why it's called an axe, because I just defeated all these demons that were inside of me. And I was like, this makes sense. And I didn't put her down since, just like hours and hours and hours a day.
Do you still remember the first song that you wrote?
The first song that I wrote? Yeah, I do. I mean, I still play them. I only have 4 songs that I wrote.
Oh, really? Okay.
I've only been writing for 6 months, right?
Oh, I suppose, yeah.
But the first
that you're still relatively new.
Yeah, the first song that I learned was Head in the Heart, winter song, right? And it was I guess what was the word? It made sense because it was the same thing, just about having a hard winter and all that stuff. And the sad thing is that that's the one song I can't play anymore cleanly because of my injury. I lost my first song because of the finger injury, sadly. I mean, I can still play, kind of.
That just means you have to learn on a piano.
True. That wouldn't be hard at all, actually. That wouldn't be hard at all. Yeah, but I still play it. Like last time I was playing a show, and I played most of my songs, and I got into the story too, just kind of like what I was talking about, my finger and all that stuff. I was like, yeah, it sucks that I lost. I can't play the song that inspired me to become a musician. It was like a big part of me. I was like, but I'm playing anyway.
Right.
And then again, for I don't care about the audience thought, but like for me, it's like all the imperfections too that were happening, the things because there's this one where you just gotta reach, like you really gotta reach. And it wouldn't be clean because I have to use my index mostly to actually move around. But like those just mispronunciations and just dead sounds, they made me feel so much better about it because it's still like a piece of gold, and there's a lot of emotion there. So yeah, still play it. Fuck it. Fuck it.
If nothing else, man, you just add chucks in.
What do you mean?
Chucks? Chugga.
Oh.
That's how I do, was it Rehab by Amy Winehouse?
Oh, nice.
Yeah, because it's like, the chorus is like, think here. The man said, why do you think you're here? No, that's not it. The man said, why do you think you're here? I'm fucking it up. The man said, why do you think you're here? Okay. The man said, why do you think you're here? And I responded, got no idea.
That's good. That's actually good. Yeah. I should use that. I actually learned, a good chunk of just kind of just a different, I'd say a different approach, but a different way to look at this. I might incorporate it in some music stuff. Who knows? Maybe use the B7 more. Use the B7 more.
Yeah, I mean, my writing process when I write my songs, usually I'm trying to practice guitar, you know, and like one song I wrote simply because I was. Ooh, that's really out of tune.
You take this one because that one just does not want to stay tuned.
Nah, I need to change the strings out on it. I don't even think that's the appropriate string for that. But yeah, I was doing finger picking exercise.
Oh, nice.
I got bored with doing this, so I added lyrics to it, you know? Because sitting around and doing this all the time, boring as shit.
Oh, yeah.
But you start singing over top of it, like, all day and all night, you've been on my mind, and that's not alright. Much more fun. Now it's a song. Now it's not an exercise anymore.
Exactly.
But like, I also like to fuck around with styles a lot, which might come from being in a genre-defying band. Mm-hmm. So like that one, now I'm playing it. Waltzy, pop kind of stuff, because I wanted to learn how to do that.
It's funny that you say that, because so I released my first EP, right, and it's just whatever, normal finger picking stuff, whatever, and then because my goal is to just like I don't think I want to do a full album, especially just after reading and how the market is, but just continue to do just like 4 or 5 song EPs of just like we said, just different genres of stuff. It's like I got that. I want to. Next one, I don't know if I just want to have a more full sound or I just want to layer things, because this last one's just been completely acoustic. One layer of guitar, one layer of voice, nothing else. And I wanted to just like, put shit in, you get shit out. So it's like I focus on just like actually putting something in that's I'm gonna enjoy, and then just the fact that I could only focus on 2 layers is like, all right, it's out there. It sounds great. I'm so super happy about it. So now that I know how to put, good content into the recorder, now I can start adding layers and start making room for other instruments, all that stuff. And then I want to do like an EDM or just like an electronic, just completely electronically recorded, like not even using an instrument. See how that goes. Add a voice obviously over it. And then I want to do like a rap one or something, like for an EP, like in a rap album. I can talk pretty fast, so just like see how that goes. But all that's gonna, it'll happen. It'll happen eventually. But right now, just it's nice to meet somebody else who's kind of not defined. It's like we have an infinite amount of expansion, like infinite amount of space that we can be. It's like why limit yourself?
Right. Yeah. Like one of my goals, I should say, is to learn every Buffalo song on every instrument I possibly can. So I've got guitar down, I've got piano down, of course I have the drums down because I wrote all the parts for it. But I need to start working on bass. And of course, like I love playing my accordion. But
she's beautiful too.
The left side, the button side, is very easy for me because it's just like 120 tiny drums.
Is that what that is? So are those just like individual notes, like A, B, C, D, or something?
So it's arranged in the circle of fifths.
Oh, okay.
So you see that center button with the tuxedo button on top of it?
No.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what. Okay. I'm going to take a bathroom break real quick.
Yeah, I have to
and then
turn this off.
Yeah, but I was a teacher for 4 years, too.
What? You were a teacher for 4 years? I didn't know that at all.
Yeah, I mean, it was all mostly private lessons,
Uh-huh.
But I worked for a studio out of Cranberry, Pennsylvania, which is like 45 minutes northeast or northwest of Pittsburgh. And Yeah, taught for them for 4 years doing house lessons and stuff like that. And then the last 2 years that I was a teacher, I was the instructor for Knock High School drumline. And once I started working with high school students, I was just like, done. Done. They're all ganging up on me. I'm not getting paid enough for this shit.
That's true. So you taught music for 4 years?
Yep.
Okay. So right now, because I always bring my guitar to class, and I try to use it as incentive to just like, all right, don't be assholes. I'll play music. And it works sometimes. Other times, they're still assholes, and I'm like, fuck, I don't even want to touch my guitar. You've sucked the passion out of me. But my idea is if I decided to teach music, at least in school, is that kids that would take that class would at least care enough not to drive me nuts. Is that correct?
To an extent.
Yeah.
I mean, they'll drive you nuts less.
Well, yeah, because it's like I'm just worried about it because my problem is just kids that don't give a fuck. You know, if you're trying and you're being funny, whatever. Like, I'm not a Nazi. Like, I'm like when the class is quiet, I get an eerie feeling. I love silence, but I was like, okay, this class is a little too quiet for some reason. You guys can talk. You're quiet. Like, oh, I'm fine with that. You know, I don't want you to go crazy. But it's the kids that just show up for no reason, right? And they're there to disrupt the class, and they think they're funny. And it's like, okay, dude, if you're not here to even try to learn, then just get the fuck out. Because you're wasting my time. You're wasting everybody else's time. You're wasting everybody's time because I have to take my time that I can teach them to direct your problem. If you don't want to be here at all, just sit down and listen. Leave. You don't have to be here.
Right.
And I explained to them, it's like, if you want to fail, your choice. I don't have a stake in it. You can succeed. You can fail. I'll be the same. You can choose the failure and just go be homeless elsewhere. Don't waste my time. Right? And sometimes they hear it. Sometimes they just... You know, it's the ego coming up again, and they'll just get all, well, fuck you then, you know. But
yeah, well, I mean, you know, for some kids, they're like that because it's all too easy. You know, like I know for me, growing up, I didn't do well in school because I was just really good at what they were teaching, but didn't give a fuck about it.
True.
I wouldn't say I was disruptive or anything, but you know, finding an ambition when you're young, like you were saying, being 16 and having it all figured out, it's great. And you know, I knew what I wanted to do probably from that age, but I just didn't pursue it until, you know, over 10 years later. And you know, I moved to Pittsburgh initially for the music scene because my sister and I we were from Youngstown, Ohio, which is halfway between Cleveland and Pittsburgh. Like, it's an hour and a half to go to either one. So we spent our youth going to shows all the time up in Cleveland, and then like the Cleveland scene started to die, so we would go to Pittsburgh more often. And I had a friend who was going to Art Institute of Pittsburgh, and I offered to help move him in. I was kind of lacking direction because I was doing business management at Kent State. I hated it. And you know, found out about the product design program and signed up that day. Was in there like probably the next quarter that they had going on, and yeah, like then one by one all the venues in Pittsburgh started closing down too.
Damn.
But I had that ambition, you know. I knew school wasn't really for me, but I had more learning to do.
See, and it's that knowledge because I can spot the kids that they're smart, they're not challenged, right? They're just like whatever, and I get that because I was the same way. It's like going through school. Okay, teacher's talking. I get it. I finished my homework. Class is over, right? And then at home I just play video games. So school was never really challenging for me, which is why I'm looking at these guys like I know it's not hard.
Right.
You know, like college is hard. I know this isn't hard. Like if you don't want to waste your time on this, again, I'm a substitute. I don't care. I don't care what you do with your time, but understand that I'm here to help you regardless. And if you have something else that you want to focus on, why don't you use that time? You have this hour. I mean, they'll sit there and they'll fucking jerk off. Basically, sit there on their phones and play games. It's like, I could not care, right? Again, they pay me what? Cents. They pay me nothing. I could just sit there and just do what I need to do, write my book, play my guitar, which I do, draw. But if I see you not utilizing your time with the classwork, at least do something you care about, right? Like, focus on something. I don't know what the fuck you want to do. If you don't know either, let's sit down and talk. And I try to be open with them. It's like, let's figure out what is your passion. Like I've spent like more than half a class one time just talking to a student. It's like, okay, where do you want to be? What are your passions? What do you like doing? I don't know. And just kind of narrowing it down. Just kind of keeping the questions coming. Okay, take this and just evolve it into a bigger picture. And then, is this what you want? No. Okay, this, that, the other thing. And if I can get through one kid that way, okay, at least now you have an idea. It's like, this is my passion. These are the steps that Mr. Psyche told me about. Mm-hmm. And I can focus on that, because everything is manageable. If you have the bigger picture in mind, you know how to take the little, build a staircase to it, and each tiny step. And all of it's on YouTube now anyway. Right. Watch a YouTube video, take a couple of notes. Fuck whatever I'm teaching, you don't care about history or slaves. Maybe you should one day, but for right now you don't. Focus on the thing that's going to give you some purpose in life that will make you want to learn. If you do that younger, get to an age, then you'll start to realize, all of the information matters. Mm-hmm. I can take the history and the slaves and use it in whatever I decide to express myself in, whether it's music or art, which is so easy to just take everything and just kind of filter it through yourself and express that, or even if it's like, business management. I remember slavery was happening, and I'm a businessman. Shit ain't happening in my company. I don't give a fuck what anybody else is doing. Equality and love and whatever in my company only, and I will not allow anything else to happen. But you need to have that initial phase of like, this is what I want to do, and then just kind of figure out that knowledge is your friend. It's not for him, it's not for her, it's not for me. It's that you can build yourself up so much so that everything becomes pertinent. Right. So right now I'm trying to think of how to approach it better, I guess.
Well, what is it that you substitute for?
Everything.
Okay. Because we have a game that we play called what's the song? Wagon Wheel. You know Wagon Wheel? It's really easy. I think it's CGFG. Okay. Over and over and over again. I'm sure you've heard Wagon Wheel before.
Maybe. I'm bad with names. I know that for a fact.
Trying to think how the lyrics go. But anyway, we have this game that we play with it where we just sing whatever song comes to mind, but we sing it in that tune. So that would be a good exercise for kids, Mm-hmm. Like, all right, I have this song, and you sing them the Wagon Wheel song, and then be like, okay, well here's the notes. Everybody get their phones out and record this, and then come in tomorrow or later this week or whenever I'm subbing again, and then you can sing your song to this chord progression. It's a really great learning tool for like anybody that's not really adept with music, because they don't have to play. They just have to think about how the tones would be that they're singing.
It's a great exercise. It's a great game. Yeah. I'm gonna do that.
Goodbye, everybody. And look at that. You have made it to the very end of this episode, which is close to 2 hours. High five if you work at a warehouse or an airplane shop. I bet those 2 hours flew by so fast. And now you need another episode, which hopefully I will have one coming up soon. Or you can just go and listen to Joe Rogan or something like that. He has long episodes, just to let the time go by. I hope you find something. I know I couldn't have made this episode any longer, but I hope you enjoyed it, because I sure did. I really enjoyed Josh. He's a great guy, great conversation. I don't usually spend that much time sitting around with people, and that I spent like 4 hours with him, if not more. I would have spent more, but I had to edit the podcast for you guys. Well, now that we're here, I'm going to sing you guys a song to encapsulate the whole time, or it's going to be super abstract and you're not going to know about nothing. Hope you enjoy it, and if you don't, sucks to be you. Close my eyes because make it through this time. I've seen this road before. Let's make it all the time. Let's take a leap and fly to different space. Find all we seek in a country that's not our race. Don't you forget that ground is better than the sea. But you remember the time between you and me. Don't you forget the time between you and me. What I saw that morning, my own reflection in the sky, and I knew that I had to capture that, else it'll be just another mirage. And I did not relax tonight, because my heart would fly far away. Now I know that you're one fine fellow. You sit around and you make the ground shake with just one quake of your heart. But don't be blind. Don't be smart. Don't you start. Just realize